A couple of months back, we were on holiday in Goa during the monsoons, and we decided to go out for a brunch at a well reviewed restaurant, which was essentially a colonial time bungalow which was converted into a themed restaurant. The real reason that I wanted to go was that they had a live band performing. I really like live music. So when we showed up there, it turned out that the live band was actually a one man band. This guy Krishna performed a very specific style of music which is called live looping. It's really fascinating to watch. He had a bunch of instruments, he played the guitar, he had the percussions, he had all kinds of electronic gizmos. Some things which were not even, traditional musical instruments. He used all of this to create sounds and to play music that probably even a band could not have done. And I witnessed it and I found myself saying, what a talent! How talented is this guy? Anytime we witness an outstanding performance in sports, music, cinema, any other field, this is the most common refrain that we find. We always default to talent as the reason for somebody's performance. And what gets lost is the amount of hard work and effort that it takes to look talented on the day. I found myself thinking about this when I was reading a book recently called Mindset by Carol Dweck. The talent mindset is one in which we attribute performance to an inherent ability. This might be a high IQ or some other job specific, field specific talent, like maybe presentation skills or hand eye coordination or whatever. Carol Dweck calls this the fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is when we believe that success comes from leveraging our inherent capabilities. Life in the fixed mindset is about proving yourself and succeeding in the area of your talent. The growth mindset, on the other hand, believes that you can get better by working on your current capabilities. You can use better strategies, you can get help from others, you can do better than you are currently in almost any environment. Does that mean that if I become a physicist, I can be as good as Einstein? Or if I take up music, I can be as good as Beethoven or whoever else? No. But a person's potential is unknowable, and what you can achieve with years of training and concerted effort is something that would be far beyond what you believe is possible even right now. That's what the growth mindset believes. Now, how does the mindset growth of fixed pan out in corporate culture? So, the author talks about something that she calls CEO disease, where a CEO who becomes very successful now does not want to look fallible. He or she wants to look perfect. As a result of which, he or she creates situations where they look the best. They work in a way that plays up their existing strengths. They might even surround themselves by people who make them look better. It's a very funny thing that she says that in this situation, the CEO, in a sense, becomes the resident genius, and the model that Carol Dweck calls, almost on a lighter note, is a genius surrounded by a thousand helpers. So everybody else is just there to assist the CEO in executing on his or her vision. That's how it becomes. Now, this is not a very conducive format, especially in the current environment where we need to have everybody thinking beyond their current capabilities. Another example of the fixed mindset can be found in corporate culture, and a very storied example is Enron. Enron went bankrupt in the early 2000s, and they famously had a culture where they only hired the best talent. They paid a lot and they hired the best talent. In fact, a lot of companies even today would pride themselves for hiring the best talent. Enron also had a high performance culture, as they called it, which meant that if you did well, you were rewarded disproportionately almost. And if you did not do well, if you were, let's say, in the bottom 10%, you would lose your job. So this created a fixed mindset within Enron. Nobody wanted to look like a failure. Nobody wanted to look less than perfect, and therefore that's the mindset that they used. That's the kind of strategies they worked in. They worked only in their strengths. They maybe hid stuff that did not go well, and the rest is history. Just like Enron, this is something that a fixed mindset culture can propagate. Now, if you were to ask anybody, do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? I think just about anybody would say growth mindset. However, we are fallible human beings, and all of us in some part of our life do have a fixed mindset. In any situation, ask yourself, especially if you're going through a hard time or if you're in a difficult place, are you thinking about the situation with a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Are you being fearful or are you being hopeful, in the sense that are you manufacturing opportunities? Are you trying to think about how things can become better through your own effort? That's what is essential. And it's not always easy to tell if you're living in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. For example, you could be working very hard and your thought could be, I've got about 10-15 years of my career ahead of me, and I'd like to maximize this time and do very well in my area. Now, this looks like the growth mindset, but it's actually the fixed mindset, because you're only thinking about the next 10-15 years. Who's to say that you will not be productive for many decades beyond that? Also, you're thinking about your field as you look at it right now. What are the new skills that you can acquire? What are the new alliances and networks that you can build that would take you forward? That would be a growth mindset way of looking at the same situation. If you realize that you have a fixed mindset in a certain area of your life, it might be health, it might be work, it might be relationships, whatever. What can you now do? Well, the author has a Carol Dweck offers a 4-step process. The first step is to embrace your fixed mindset. She says, welcome to the human race, we are all human beings. And we all, like I said, have a fixed mindset somewhere or the other. It creeps up on us. The first thing to do is to be okay with that. The next thing to do is to identify your triggers. When do you go into this fixed mindset? Is it maybe about finances? Is it about your progress or your capability or your success in your chosen line of work? Is it relationships? Is it health? Whatever. What are the triggers? We all have situations where we slip into a fixed mindset. Identify your triggers. So embrace your fixed mindset, know that it exists. 2, identify your triggers. The next step is that you give your fixed mindset persona a name. So it's very nuanced, that it's in a sense philosophical, that you think of this fixed mindset version of you as a different person. And then you give it a name. And a lot of great people have done something similar. It's called giving yourself an alter ego. And this is from another book called Alter Ego by, I'll try and plug in the name of the author. Where a lot of great performers, used to go into a fixed mindset, and they gave themselves an alter ego or a fixed mindset persona name, and therefore addressed it differently. An interesting example is Beyonce. Before she became a great musician and a great performer, she used to be afraid to come on stage. So she gave her stage personality a name called Sasha Fierce. And when she went on stage, she acted as if it was somebody else going on stage. So putting that distance between who you are and who you want to be can be one way of addressing the fixed mindset. Eckhart Tolle is another great author, a spiritual author, who talks about this concept of a pain body, where he says that, when we go into this mindset of negative thoughts, fixed mindset, treat that as a pain body, or as a part of you, not a part of you rather, a version of you that is different from you. The moment you put some distance between you and your fixed mindset persona, you can now move to step 4, which is to educate this version of you and to maybe show him or her different ways in which you can act. So that's a simple 4-step process. Embrace your fixed mindset, identify your triggers, Give yourself a fixed mindset persona name and educate yourself or your fixed mindset version on the various possibilities. Companies spend a lot of resources on talent management, and this may not be effective without the right mindset. Start with a growth mindset workshop for your managers. Help your talented people to also have the right mindset, without which any kind of training may not be effective.